welcome to the Midwest. You don't get much more Midwest. Look at that. This is as Midwest as you get. And what am I doing right now? Right now, I am in the process of training to take a frost walk. What is a frost walk? It is the ability to walk barefoot on snow and ice in the wintertime under extreme temperatures. Now, how am I doing that? Well, right now, this is the level where I am. I walk barefoot on gravel, okay? So this is how I'm getting that done. I'm not asking you to do that today, but I am gonna take you step by step in this video so that this summer, you can be training for this winter. That is the goal. Before we get into that, I do need to thank today's sponsor, MagicMind. Thank you, MagicMind, for sponsoring this video. MagicMind is an all-natural nootropic blend that I've been taking for quite some time. I take it when I write my books, I take it when I do speaking events, and sometimes I take it just because, you know, I got a lot of things going on. So thanks again, MagicMind, for sponsoring this video. And if you're interested in checking MagicMind out, take a look in the description box and let me know, how do you like it? Frost walks involve getting your feet cold, right? And so, hey, great, I'm doing cold training for my feet. This must be the thing that I need to do to get ready to walk in the snow and the ice. Wrong, okay? Yes, this is part of it, but it's such a small part of it. So you have to understand what the hands and feet are all about. So, hey, hands and feet, these are my hands and feet. If you notice, look at your own hands and feet and just observe that you have different kind of skin here. Like it's a totally different kind of skin on your hands and feet. This kind of skin is extra permeable to temperature exchange. And this is one of the reasons why when you are in extreme cold, that these are the areas that shut down first. It's also because these have smaller capillaries, smaller blood vessels, and this can also make them very painful. I think all of us have been in a situation, if you've been in the cold, you know that your hands and feet are the first things to start to hurt. And that can be in an ice bath, that can be just in any cold exposure. Your hands and feet are the things that tend to hurt the most. Well, that's because your hypothalamus, especially whenever you're taking a frost walk, you're going out there, you're putting literally your feet on the snow and the ice. Well, the hypothalamus is saying, okay, we need to preserve body heat. And so we're gonna close off these areas quickly so that we don't lose body heat there. We're gonna move all the blood, we're gonna preserve the core body temperature, because if we get too cold here, then enzymes can't do their thing. We can't, literally everything will fail. So this is a defensive strategy that your hypothalamus will employ, all right? So just take a look at your hands and feet and just observe that. And these are the areas that we need to work on. So in your training, you're going to work on them in two ways. One, we need to train this part of your physiology to contract and to vasoconstrict, right? So we want to make sure that all those blood vessels can constrict quickly and efficiently. So we're going to build those muscles up. We also just want to build blood flow. Clearly, cold plunging is going to be essential for getting ready for your frost walks. You're going to walk around in next to nothing, so don't forget to do your cold plunge. Just understand that the cold plunge is not going to prepare you quite as much as you need to get out there in bare feet. Now, if you get into a cold plunge and your feet are the thing that generally give you problems, for me, it's always been my hands. That's always been my problem area. But if you get into a cold plunge and it's like, oh, my feet are just, oh my God, it's rough. Well, this is another good sign that you just need to work your feet out more. And what that means is flexing your feet, picking things up with your feet, walking on the grass, walking on rougher surfaces. It's not until later that you might want to graduate to doing what my personal challenge is, and that's walking on gravel. Don't walk on glass, okay? There is a limit to how hard you should push your feet, right? So be kind to your feet, but understand that we are gradually and progressively pushing ourselves harder in these situations where it's not us facing the cold and the harshness of the environment, right? So we want to be prepared. We're trying to train these two things separately so that whenever we go out into the cold, then we're training both together. and we're gonna go one step at a time when we get out into the cold as well. The thing that most people think is the most important thing for training for a frost walk is actually the least important thing, but it is something that I do recommend doing. Now, I've got here a bucket of water, I've got a bucket of ice. We're going to add all the ice that we can to that bucket. And a lot of people ask me how much they should put in, how much ice should we put in there? Just go to your freezer and like as much ice as you have there, that's exactly the right amount, okay? So don't stop overthinking it and just make it cold. Just make, I mean, a lot of times I'll say, make it so it's all ice and then you can slip your foot in there, whatever you want to do. Now you can do this in the shower, you can do this like I'm doing it right now, but basically you're just going to put one foot in and you're going to wait usually about a minute or two, okay? Now you can do this in the shower and it enhances the shower. Now the problem is with the shower that the water is gonna be coming in and it will continuously warm up the water in here. So that's something. Another thing is the safety aspect. Make sure you're only doing one foot and not the other, you know, not both at the same time. You can imagine like, you can imagine doing this in the shower, how dangerous that will be. I don't want to be responsible for your black eyes and broken legs and things like that. Just one foot at a time, and you go for about, usually around 2 minutes. This is not a thing, you know, you're not a machine. What you're trying to do is go until you actually reach the point of pain, maybe a little bit longer. The thing is, when it comes to pain in the ice water, you're not going to get frostbite. That's the biggest thing I want you to understand. You can get frostbite pretty easily by walking in snow and ice. This is not going to give you frostbite, okay? Because it only gets so cold. You're not going to have tissue freezing and things. But eventually, once you feel like, okay, I've pushed myself far enough on this foot, then you do need to switch to the other foot, all right? Now, if you're in the shower, a lot of times I recommend having maybe your favorite song or something like that. Maybe you know how long that song is. Great, that song is over, awesome. I'm gonna switch feet, I'm gonna switch over, awesome, good deal. Now, the issue you're gonna have if you're in the shower is that now this foot is cold, right? It might be a little numb, and it might be something that you just need to be cautious about and careful about. Now, what you see me doing right now, I've trained the United States military, I've trained all sorts of different groups that you would consider to be the most hardcore groups. This right here has oftentimes been the thing that makes people squeal the most. I put them in ice baths, I throw them into lakes, I do all kinds of things, and it's this extremity training that can be the most painful. And again, it's because the kind of skin we have down there is more permeable to that thermal change. It's also because this vasoconstriction that we experience in our feet and in our hands is generally the most painful. You don't think this is going to be less painful than this, but it is, and that's just part of being a human being that you need to understand. So when you do this sort of training, this is great, it's necessary, but the most important thing, you're going to notice if you're going out there barefoot and you're walking around barefoot, this will get easier. And a lot of times I'll train people to go on frost walks and they haven't really done this as much, but they've done a lot of barefoot walking. They go barefoot all the time and they are just fine. It's the barefoot walking, not so much this, but this is important, but this is not as important as going barefoot walking. A lot of people will erroneously equate frost walking to kind of like a fire walk, right? It's all in the mind and it's all about just getting out there and doing it. Which to some degree is true, because the thing that generally keeps a person from doing it is the fact that, hey, we're afraid. It's a much more intense sensation than we're used to feeling. And so that's generally something that keeps us from doing it. That's not untrue, but it's also true that we do want to, if you're trying to do this safely, it's something that you want to do methodically. It's something to think about and to prepare for. And so if your feet are ready by challenging those feet on a regular basis, and if you are ready because you've challenged those feet in extreme cold situations on a regular basis as well. The beauty is that now you can focus on, okay, it's finally snowed, right? Once it snows, you are ready and there's no excuses. You've done the training and you're gonna be healthy as you do it. What I see all too often, the reason why I wrote my book, the reason why I'm making this video, is that people attribute it so much to the mind that they believe that they can just go out there on a whim and just with the power of the mind, right? And yeah, you can do that, but you might be missing some toes. You might get chill beans, you might get frostbite. And let me tell you, I have had these. These are not just pretend things. I have had these, and this is the advice that I wish someone would have given me early on, is that you have to go methodically if this is something you want to do. This is from my own personal experience. If you go out and you're in the cold and you push past the pain, yes, it will stop hurting. But that's because you're starting to get into that danger zone. You're starting to get to that point where you're starting to get tissue damage. The blood has all come out of that tissue and now it's starting to freeze. And I guarantee you, my friend, yeah, you're gonna get lucky a few times. Sure, you can get lucky, but you're not gonna get lucky every time. And I have had some close calls that I'm just glad that it didn't result in some of the negative things that I've seen many of my friends and a lot of people that reach out to me. Oh, Jesse, I was trying to do this frostwalk thing. And so, no, you've got to prepare. My friends, thanks so much. I hope this is helpful. Continue to watch this channel because we're going to add more content to get you ready for the winter. We prepare for the winter in the summer. And then that way we can make the winter into just a blissful, enjoyable thing because we're completely ready for it. Then it really is. It's just, okay, I've trained my physiology. I know I'm as prepared as I can be. Then it really is, am I willing to actually get out of my comfort zone? Because we always want to stay in our safety zone. The comfort zone, that's the thing we push. Thanks so much for being here, guys. Check out the links below. Like, subscribe. Don't forget to go out there and be kind to one another. Your hypothalamus understands this. Hello, kitty. This cat is like 100 years old. It's a wild cat that looks like it's seen better days. Black and White is a wild cat that we tried to be nice to, and he stays around here. We still feed him, but he will claw, like he'll just like start biting. So like that's why I'm really watching